Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and we'd like to welcome you from wherever you may be tuning in at this time for COVID-19 Storytime with Rob. This is episode 3, and I just want to welcome you, and I hope you're doing well wherever you are, and I hope that somehow, somewhere, this maybe brightens your day just a little bit. And you can always pass these on to people you may know who may be, I don't know, laid up in bed or stuck in their house somewhere. So I hope you enjoy these stories as much as I do. This one again comes from another rest of the story from Paul Harvey, who was one of my favorites. And this one is called Get Those Shoes. More than 100 years ago, the Compiler was a small but excellently published newspaper. Often its front page news was days old, and yet for a provincial journal in Civil War times, it reported the nation's events remarkably promptly. Reading the issue of June 29, 1863, one learns much about the era. Quote, "The prospects of the Democratic Party were never brighter than they are at present," one article says. Republican Abe Lincoln was then president. Some of the advertisements are fascinating. One placed by Tyson Brothers exclaims, "Eureka, Eureka! The Excelsior washer is acknowledged by all who see it to be the most complete and without exception, the most perfect labor-saving washing machine ever invented. Price, $8. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Another ad, this one placed by the R.F. McElhaney store, Boots and Shoes, comprising men's fine calf boots, men's Balmorals, men's Wellington boots, Congress gaiters, and brogans. It was this advertisement that attracted the attention of 3 Confederate generals, Ambrose Hill, Henry Heth, and Johnston Pettigrew. Hill was in charge of the entire Third Corps. Heth and Pettigrew were 2 division generals serving under him. The reason that one newspaper ad intrigued the Confederate brass was that much of the Third Corps, after many long months of fighting, was now marching barefoot. They desperately needed footwear, and now they knew where to find it. Heth told Pettigrew to muster his brigade, head for the town where the newspaper was published, and get those shoes. The town was some 8 miles distant. Pettigrew and his men, about 2,400 infantry, started out early in the morning of the hot, humid 30th and returned late that afternoon. Where was the footgear? General Heth wanted to know. General Pettigrew related the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey would always say. On the outskirts of town, he had seen a small group of Union cavalry. No infantry, although a few of his men had sworn they had heard distant drums. With no cavalry of his own to perform reconnaissance, Pettigrew could only imagine the ultimate strength of the Union forces behind him. He would not gamble with the lives of his troops. That's why he returned empty-handed. 16 sizzling, suffocating miles of barefoot marching for nothing. So Generals Heth and Pettigrew met with the commander of the Third Corps, General Hill. Hill told them to relax. Both he and General Lee were confident that the only Yankees in the vicinity of that town were the small detachment of reconnaissance cavalry which Pettigrew had observed. Pettigrew could have easily wiped them out and returned with the much-needed shoes. Immediately, Heth spoke up. Might he have permission to lead his own division over to that shoe store and relieve the proprietor of his stock? General Hill readily granted permission, and the next morning, July 1st, General Heth was on his way. It was a complete accident, you see. No one, neither the Rebs nor the Yanks, either anticipated or intended the carnage that then followed. The Confederates, so preoccupied with the advertisement in the small town newspaper, had utterly miscalculated the size and tenacity of the Union cavalry, as well as the proximity of the 1st Corps and the 11th Corps. So began the Footwear War, a spontaneous 3-day holocaust. And all the Confederates wanted were shoes from the R.F. McElhaney store in Gettysburg. And now you know the rest of the story. Well, until tomorrow, be safe and have a great day. Thank you.